Hello and welcome to the first annual Master of Marzen competition. This competition was designed to take my favorite style of beer, Marzen, and pit a number of American craft brewers against each other to see who could come up with the best Oktoberfest style. This is round one, Bout 1, and it's a Dallas-Fort Worth area battle with Franconia of McKinney and Legal Draft of Arlington, Texas competing in today's event. Franconia, as I said, is brewed in McKinney, Texas, and their Marzen clocks in at 5% ABV with no IBU available on the bottle or on Untapped. Legal Draft's Oktoberfest hails from Arlington, Texas, and clocks in at 5.2% ABV, also with no IBU available on the can or online. With Master of Marzen being a brand new bracket, let's talk really quickly about how each of these beers will be judged. The Master of Marzen is a 32 beer bracket, single elimination style, with only one winner at the end. The beer that reigns victorious will have won 5 straight rounds to get to the top and be named the Master of Marzen for 2019. In each round, the beers will be pitted head-to-head in a best-of-5 competition. The 5 criteria being judged are packaging design, aroma, flavor, body, and the people's choice. Let's start with number 1, packaging design. So, get these nice and close so y'all can see. I actually like the design of both of these. I think that they both sort of played on the tradition of the blue and white check or the two-tone blue for Oktoberfest, but I like the way that they've kind of taken their own personality into the way that they've done it. Franconia, you can see, has included their traditional badging here, and I like that. Legal Draft has ditched their usual motif. They generally, as you would imagine with a name like Legal Draft, they generally package in a way that is related to a court of law or something to do with a legal case. Most of their beers are named after a pun, so Oktoberfest is a good take on that, but they've completely departed from their usual aesthetic style and gone 100% Oktoberfest. I'm inclined to award 0.1 for the packaging to Legal Draft. 3 of the remaining 4 criteria require me to actually pop over and drink the beer, so let's make that happen. Okay, so judging point 2, aroma, as you can see I have the Franconia here on my left and the Oktoberfest on my right from Legal Draft. So let's start with the Franconia. So I'm getting a pretty typical Oktoberfest malt, kind of toasted malt smell to it. Does smell quite refreshing. It smells like it's going to be fairly thick-bodied, has kind of ambery notes about it. Let's see what the Legal Draft smells like. So Legal Draft smells malty. It doesn't quite have that typical Marzen toasted malt smell that you might expect. It does smell malty, as I said. You can tell based on the coloration that you'd expect more of the toast from this side. As a fan of toasted malt flavors myself, I am inclined to give 0.2 for aroma to Franconia, so we're now tied at 1 apiece. Alright, let's move on to flavor, starting with Franconia. So the Franconia is packed with flavor. I'm actually very, very happy with that. As I said, lots of toasted malt flavors in there. I like the way that it's kind of slow on the front end and it picks up right at the back, and there's a lot of retention in the aftertaste as well. So you get that really powerful malty experience that you would expect from an Oktoberfest. Let's move on to Legal Draft. So again, as the aroma would have suggested, lots of malty flavors without that toasted flavor. The malts come across very sweet in a way. That's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily my preference though. I like the Oktoberfest to be sort of more traditional toasted malts, a bit more of a bitter flavor, more robust flavor. The other thing I'm noticing with the Legal Draft is that the aftertaste doesn't really hold very well. There is a little bit of sweetness still on the back end, but in terms of the general flavor, I again am inclined to give this point to Franconia. So Franconia now leads 2-1. Okay, point 4, which is body. We are looking now at which one has the best head retention, although neither of them have retained their head particularly long. You might notice earlier in the video the Franconia disappeared first, but I also poured it first, so I would say that the head retention is about even. We're looking for things like lacing, and there isn't really a whole lot going on in either beer here. Although, let me go ahead and drink a little more, and we'll see how it ends up. So as you can see, the Franconia is lacing a little bit here on the side. The Legal Draft doesn't seem to be holding a lot. I mean, it pilled a little bit, but it's not like a particularly strong lace. In terms of sort of the thickness and the mouthfeel, I'm inclined to give that to Legal Draft just because I find it a little more enjoyable in terms of how the thickness that it is. I kind of expected the Franconia with that deeper, darker flavor and coloration to have a bit more to it, but I'm finding that there's a more substantial mouthfeel actually coming from the legal draft. So that's going to tie it at 2 apiece going into the fan's choice. So the voting for this bout actually opened yesterday, which is Saturday. I'm filming this on Sunday, on the Sargent Suds Instagram account. If you're not actually following that, I suggest that you go and do that. As this tournament progresses over the next few weeks, you'll have plenty of opportunity at every point to vote for the people's choice for that round in each of the bouts. So the poll for this one was open for 24 hours, and as you can see here on the screen, Legal Draft did receive 70% of the vote to Franconia's 30% of the vote. So, and just for those interested at home, that was 26 votes for Legal Draft and 11 for Franconia. So that gives the 5th point for the People's Choice to Legal Draft and makes them 3-2 winners in this round. So they'll go ahead and progress to the 2nd round, where they will meet the winner of the Left Hand versus Hop and Sting bout that will be reviewed here shortly. Hey y'all, hope you enjoyed that. Trying to find a balance between keeping it nice and short for y'all and making sure that I do both beers justice in that regard. If you haven't liked and subscribed and you are interested in this, as I said, this is bout 1 of round 1, and this tournament is going to go on for the next few weeks, and there's going to be many more bouts. So if you're interested in this kind of content, please do like and subscribe. Be sure to check in regularly. As I said, each of the bouts will be put here on YouTube, and I'd love to see you back again. Until next time, cheers.